Now, as we know, remote work has become the new reality and the new normal for many businesses across the world. But it also brings along with it new and different challenges. How do companies empower their employees to work from home yet remain productive and engaged? How do you equip your employees with the right set of remote work technology to be able to get the work done from anywhere, anytime? And how can modern technology enable employees to maintain connectivity and business continuity without sacrificing on productivity or performance? To discuss more on this remote work revolution that is reshaping the future of modern businesses, we have with us today, joining us, Praveen Kumar, who is the Field Marketing Consultant, Client Solutions Group at Dell Technologies. Now, Praveen has been associated with Dell for over 12 years, and he is responsible for introducing new mobility solutions and products for commercial customers in India. So thank you so much for your time and for joining us today, Praveen. You are, of course, clearly in a position where you understand the current changing workforce trends and dynamic, and also the evolving employee productivity challenges. So tell us a little bit more about what you do at Dell and also your view of the present situation.
Thank you for inviting me, and it's a great pleasure to talk to you. Yes, of course, we've seen these challenges recently where, one fine day we had to lock down everything and employees were asked to work from home all of a sudden. At Dell, personally, I handle the mobility products, commercial mobility products. That includes your laptop and, various sizes and form factors of laptops along with rugged devices as well. But we can tell you one thing, in Dell, we were prepared for it because this is something which we've been, practicing as a business continuity for the last 10 years. And we've had in our core IT strategy a remote workplace, environment all this while. So our workers, our employees were always flexible. They could have, been ready to work from anywhere. We see that, several of our customers were not ready to do that. We kind of, stepped in and said, hey, there's no better person apart from Dell to support you because we've been doing this for 10 years, the last 10 years. Right, so we are engaged with our customers. We are helping them out to get their priorities and to enable them with the right measures and decisions to make in this workforce transformation.
Right. So before going into the details of how you are resolving some of these issues for your clients with your tech solutions, how is Dell itself, as such a large company, coping with a new work dynamic?
Look, we started this flexible work environment way back in 2010. So we've been practicing this for the last 10 years. So in our organization, we enable more workers with mobility devices, rather fixed devices. That's one thing. Secondly, our data center was a scalable data center. So in case more and more employees work from home or from remote work area, our bandwidth was always supportable. We had enough, ecosystem support back in the data center on the backbone. So we were always prepared for this. Eventually, this was more towards a workforce transformation methodology, where employees find themselves more productive being, working from home. Mm-hmm. So we kind of enabled that when customers were thinking about bring your own device and all those other technology concepts. We kind of adopted this at a very early stage, and we see that on day zero, most of our employees could immediately shift base from their home, and business was as usual. We continued without any kind of a glitch because our tech support processes covers a lot of customers. We continued supporting them in our background services. Our customer care services were online, so we had no problem in transitioning to this environment.
Right, it's great to see large IT companies such as Dell, of course, make this transition so seamlessly. But as we know, the entire world, of course, is really moving to this new work dynamic. And a lot of smaller companies and other companies that don't really have a strong IT backbone, essentially, seem to be grappling with this new paradigm shift. So when you talk to your customers, what sort of challenges or key trends and insights are you really getting out of this new work dynamic?
Yes, when this phenomenon started, sometime I think early March or middle of March, when people were forced to work from home. Firstly, customers scrambled to find the right mobility device. which they can allow the employees to work from home with. So there was an acute shortage of devices for some time because everybody was scrambling for whatever they could grab a hold of. So during this stage, what happened is security aspect of the company's data or application took a back foot. That was something which they did not plan well in advance. Continuity was the first foremost important. We realized that with the customers, and that was more of a temporary solution which they adapted towards. But we did engage with them. We are continuously engaging with them to realize, make them understand the importance of security, because industry experts actually say more than 95% of security threats in your company originates from your endpoint devices, more like your laptop, your mobile phone, or your desktop personal computer, which you use. So it's easier to hack that rather a data center device, right? So it is very vulnerable. So organization couldn't predict what could happen. And experts are reporting there is a manifold increase in cybersecurity threats recently. That's something which customers have realized over a period of time. They're working towards it. But there were initial challenges with several customers. While we discussed, we analyzed that they weren't prepared for the right security measures. At the same time, they weren't prepared for the right IT backbone in the data center. Because if you're moving everybody to their work, they have to connect via VPN to the data center. You're not connected in the local network anymore. That kind of put a lot of choke in the bandwidth. I think most users also realized that Skype was operating at a lower bandwidth for some time. Zoom was operating with a lower bandwidth for some time. It all happened ad hoc. But that's now becoming a decision-making process. I think companies are taking that into account when they are planning towards the future.
Right, like you pointed out, security, of course, is of foremost importance. Cybersecurity, of course, is something that all of us need to be aware of, given the remote work situation. And an IT backbone is, of course, very crucial to hold everything together. But given the current circumstances and the unforeseen pandemic as well, what kind of short-term strategy would you say, from your point of view, should an organization really adopt, or what kind of strategy should one develop that can be put into place quickly and easily?
Absolutely. So the first thing foremost is trust element. If you're planning something in a short term, you need to have a long-term benefit on it. Though whatever decision you're making, you may not necessarily have the skill set within your organization. Maybe you've been hired a person to plan for this. So the first thing and foremost the company needs to do is to trust a partner, right? And somebody like Dell Technologies, who has an end-to-end portfolio of pretty much everything what you need, right? From the secure devices to the data center components to a scalable environment infrastructure to security portfolio out of the box. You don't have to find multiple vendors. So that's something which you need to really look at. You need to find a trusted partner who can cover the end-to-end infrastructure as one single alliance. When you do a short-term strategy, it's more important for that, because tomorrow there won't be any kind of a blame game between different vendors or different participants from the industry. And when you don't have the right skill set, it's absolutely important to trust the technology leaders that, like Dell Technologies. We have recruited so many companies in this past years, which actually gives you the competency to give the customer as one solution. So that's very, very important as a short term. Trust and finding the right partner like Dell Technologies. That's more important.
Sure. And how can one look at technology, in terms of improving the work from home experience? Of course, work from home would mean you enjoy the comfort of your home, as well as you avoid those long hours of commute. But there are, of course, connectivity issues, business continuity issues. So what would, in your lens, be the ideal remote working playbook? Or what are the best practices that a company can adopt?
So to my view, I think every single home now has a great broadband, connectivity. I think internet is something which is now easily available, and it's kind of cheaper compared to the previous years. So I do not believe that internet should be an issue any longer, like it used to be at least 10 years back, where you had a dial-up connection. But I think with the advent of broadband being there in each and every home, That's pretty much giving you the office-like performance or office-like speed which you need, right? How you used to work with your LAN cable within your office. What's more important in technology? What's technology is helping is currently the wireless technologies. One, you can connect your mobility device like a laptop wirelessly directly to your home router. You don't necessarily have to lay a cable or stretch a cable towards your laptop and then plug it in. Most importantly, we also have devices which gives you a SIM card slot. So you can work from anywhere. You don't have to work necessarily through your home router. Tomorrow you may be in a hotel. Tomorrow you may be in a cafeteria. You may be sitting out a barista. So you can directly dial up to your internet service provider using an inbuilt SIM facility modem within your mobility device. Very importantly, the recent technology evolution in content sharing or collaboration, for example, like HDMI technology or a Type-C over display port, gives you the flexibility to have very, very less device on your desk and get everything consolidated into one. For example, I have this something called a universal adapter. This is a speakerphone approved for collaboration tool. It also has all the ports which I require. It also charges my laptop. So technology kind of helps you to do more with less, and that's kind of innovations which we have. And customers are aware of what we have in Dell Technologies table. They've shown more and more interest in the recent past than before. And they've actually seen productivity increasing manifold.
Okay, that's interesting that you mentioned that productivity has actually increased, because that is really an important metric that companies will be closely monitoring at this point in time. And would you also have any sort of inspiring digital transformation or remote working case studies from India or anywhere else in the world on how organizations are embracing this trend for the better and actually seeing the results as well?
Absolutely. Well, one thing which I believe it's out in the public, several large industry players have been openly communicating that in the next couple of years, they will have a major percentage of their workforce to work from home. Right now, it also taps into sources or your ex-employees who might have quit your company, who's now allowed to work from home flexibly. People who went on probably sabbatical to come back seamlessly and join companies. That's one thing which interestingly is finding. We have several large IT companies now adapting towards it, because one thing which companies have realized, with the right measures, your productivity is not coming down, it's actually increasing while working from home. So we've had companies now completely moving to a flexible workplace. I wouldn't say it is a remote workplace. We have customers now who are saying you can work from home, and when required, you can come to office. It used to be the other way around earlier, right? So that's very, very important. There are actually, every single customer is now preparing for this. I believe from a business continuity plan, this has gone into every company's strategy planning as a BCP, that any given day, remote workplace or a flexible workplace is essentially important. Now, we've also, when we had our chats with several customers, we understood that this is an era of millennials, basically, right? Most of your workforce are actually millennials. And they kind of increase their productivity with the right devices. And industry experts also say that you have a risk of losing your workforce if you do not give them the right device, because millennials demand the recent technology and whatever it is available in the market. So that's something which customers are aware of, and they have quickly adopted. We've seen customers increasing in terms of, say, for example, a 2-in-1 notebook device, which can act like a tablet or a laptop or a tent mode, whatever you want to work with. Customers have gone with fixed computing as well, like a desktop computer. But what they've done is they've gone for a smaller form factor, so that it does not occupy much of desk space. These are some of the things which customers have looked in for. Very importantly, customers have gone into technologies where, for example, it consumes less power, but gives you more battery backup. There are a lot of innovations which Dell Technology has done. For example, in your own laptops, you have super low power panel devices, which consumes very less power in terms of the brightness or whatever you need the video output. In turn, it gives you good battery backup onto your laptop, because now you are dependent on your local power source at your home. It's very important. And companies have also adapted to the manageability tools which Dell gives. So even if you are not there, even if the IT administrator is not there to diagnose what problem it is, the machine can self-diagnose itself on what is the problem. We have tools which can actually predict what's going to happen in the next 2-3 days, and triggers a message back to Dell technical support, and you get a replacement part, before even you're aware that, okay, my hard drive is supposed to fail, and I got a replacement hard drive right now. So we have those evolving technologies, and companies have adapted towards it. We have launched in the recent past various devices which incorporates machine learning, so that it understands your usage, fine-tunes the performance. Companies practically have adapted this, and they have reported that their workforce productivity has increased by doing these measures. Now, this is very important because you don't have an IT administrator where you can directly take your laptop in case of trouble. You need to have remote workplace. And this has been successfully done by several companies without any glitch. That's encouraging. That's the right way to do. And that kind of sets up the base for the next innovation or the next future technologies to come in over.
Wow, it's really fascinating to see and know that there are so many innovative tools and tech solutions that can actually resolve these issues that we are currently facing. And very interesting that you pointed out that the flexible option now is to have the option of going to work if you want, and staying at home and working is really the new reality. But going forward as well, in the long term, how do you envision, the future for the industry, modern businesses, as well as the workforce at large, and what are the long-term strategies that an organization really needs to consider given the current environment?
Absolutely. So one is, companies are actually considering this as not a temporary issue. That is coming out pretty much open. That this may be one way of pandemic spread across the globe, but eventually one might come in few years, or we don't know what's lying outside. So the idea of being prepared for anything is actually going into the boardrooms of all companies right now. Business continuity planning of flexible workforce and workforce transformation is being drawn as a core IT strategy. It's a long-term vision and a long-term plan as well. It's no longer a stopgap arrangement like what we are going through right now, or a temporary lockdown period. Secondly, companies are willing to invest more and more in terms of the ecosystem. It's just not about your laptop. For example, if you're going to put in your employee to work from home, you need to provide him that extra monitor, which probably he will be more productive with. Give him a good wireless keyboard or a mouse, get him a good docking solution. Everything coming from one single vendor puts the responsibility on one shoulder. A company like Dell Technologies, of course. So that is kind of evolving over a period of time, and I think that's going to be a key investment which company will be making on the right ecosystem as well, and the right device from where they can seamlessly transition, and they can access data from anywhere. End-to-end life cycle management of your endpoint device is very, very important. So it's just not about procuring the device, managing them without intervention from your IT department. You supporting them from a remote environment, self-healing and self-predictable diagnostic tools. That's more important. So these are actually a long-term strategy where companies are investing on the right technologies so that they can be less worried about keeping the lights on and increasing productivity alone, right? One thing which companies have realized, the total cost of ownership is very, very important. The devices which you procure is only about 20 to 30% of your investment. 60, 70% of your investment goes into keeping the lights on, the right ecosystem, the right manageability tools, the right security softwares. And when you kind of get it from one partner or one vendor like Dell Technologies out of the box, that kind of gives a long-term gain as well. You don't have to put your head into anything. You just place the order, the device reaches the end user, he switches it on, everything he needs is coming out of the box. So that's kind of vision which most of the companies are looking forward, and a seamless deployment and seamless management of their workforce devices. That's the long-term strategy. You need to find the right partner.
Right, of course, you mentioned that finding the right technology partner is really crucial. You spoke about some of the devices and features that Dell really has on offer. But how exactly does an organization approach Dell? Because you mentioned it's about the entire ecosystem, and an IT backbone has to be put into place. It doesn't really begin and end at a broadband connection and the laptop device per se. It's much more than that. So, do you essentially provide something like a plug and play solution that can be put to use immediately?
Well, we talked about something called a unified workspace solution, which is basically the right device, the right management capabilities, right support system, and the right services to manage the complete thing. Everything comes out of the box. That's the idea. Yes, everything is plug and play. It needs an alignment upfront with the companies in terms of setting it up, but once done, it's all seamless. We believe in something called a modern deployment, where, like I said earlier, you ship the device to your end user directly, as in where he's being hired from, and all he needs to do is just key in his ID and password, and he has everything what he needs to work on. And there is no dependency on the IT department to provision this. This is something which we have actually incorporated with a lot of customers. We are giving an offer for end-to-end solution as one bundle on one package, along with the data center components. Of course, we have scalable environment, like it's modular. You may want to pay as you grow. You don't want to invest upfront completely. You may want to pay as you grow. So we have modular components as well in our data centers. Flexible one. You may hire 100 employees today, scale up to 1,000 employees company tomorrow. So we've kind of give you the ready solution at the stage one itself, not trying to break down the complete investment and redo your investment again. So that's something which is very important. What we assure the customers is you don't have to worry about provisioning everything. We can do it at the factory, whatever you need to do it, and we can ship the device to the end user directly with zero intervention from your IT department. So that's something which we give out of the box.
Oh, that's great. So you mean to say that the IT departments of each and every organization doesn't really need to be actively involved in catering to any issues that their employees may have during this remote work period, and everything is really thought through with your AI and machine learning models and solutions that you have put in place. And finally, any special incentives or packages that you have for companies that may be listening in currently, that they can really pick up and put to use immediately given the current pandemic situation?
Absolutely, yes. And in fact, currently we have tied up with various industrial associations, and we kind of tapped into their members, and we are giving bundle packages as well. It's just not about the, say, for example, a laptop device, but we are able to provide laptop plus your headset for your conferencing solution, a monitor along with it, a wireless mouse, the perfect solution which you need on your desk, everything into bundled one. And it kind of goes into a promotion offer right now, which is available currently across. There will be a lot of emailers being sent to our customers. We can always get back to the Dell call center or Dell toll-free number in case you're interested in one. Yes, we are promoting them, and we are kind of subsidizing as much as possible and providing the attractive discounts which the customer need in terms of their investments. That is very important. And most importantly, as I said again, we bundle everything into one package. So you don't have to necessarily have the skill set to do the installation and everything. It's all pre-built, pre-installed. All you need to do is just switch it on and enter your name. That's it.
Great, as simple as that. So, thanks so much, Praveen, for sharing your insights and, of course, giving us all the options of technology solutions, features, and devices that are available out there to companies that may be grappling with this new workforce dynamic and the challenges that it throws up, essentially, of the productivity and engagement gap. So, thanks so much, Praveen, for your time again. And here's hoping that all companies can empower and equip their remote workforce for success.
Thank you.